If you cannot sit in an empty room for 2 hours without checking your phone, you do not have the attention span required to become a millionaire. Your focus has been stolen, and your wealth is going with it. Welcome back. I am Leonidas. Take a look around at the modern man. He is exhausted, yet he hasn't done any physical labor. He is anxious, yet he is in no physical danger. He wants to build wealth, start a business, and escape the rat race. But the moment he sits down at his computer to do the hard work, an invisible force pulls him away. He opens a new tab. He checks a social media feed. He plays a quick round of a video game. He goes to the kitchen for a highly processed snack. Hours vanish. The business never gets built. The skills never get learned, and the bank account never grows. Most men believe their problem is a lack of time or a lack of money. They are wrong. Their problem is a lack of neurochemical control. They are trapped in a cycle of cheap dopamine. We live in an environment that is perfectly engineered to extract your attention and convert it into billions of dollars for someone else's company. Today, we are going to look at the dopamine detox for your wallet. We are going to explore why your inability to focus is the exact reason you aren't making money, how cheap thrills are keeping you in poverty, and how to reclaim the biological drive necessary to build lasting wealth. Before we dive into the neuroscience of wealth, a necessary disclaimer. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, nor am I a medical doctor. The content shared here does not constitute financial, investment, medical, or psychological advice. Always perform your own due diligence and consult with a licensed professional before making decisions regarding your health or your finances. To understand why you are broke, you must first understand the neurochemical that governs your motivation, dopamine. There is a massive misconception in pop culture that dopamine is the pleasure chemical. It is not. Dopamine is the pursuit chemical. It is the molecule of motivation, craving, and anticipation. From an evolutionary standpoint, dopamine is what forced our ancestors to leave the cave, endure the freezing cold, and hunt for a mammoth. Mother Nature designed dopamine to be released in anticipation of a massive reward, driving us to do incredibly difficult things to survive. Building wealth in the modern world requires this exact same biological drive. Learning a complex high-income skill, cold calling 50 clients a day, or studying market trends requires a massive amount of effort. To sustain that effort, your brain needs a healthy, functioning dopamine system that rewards you for pursuing a distant, difficult goal. But what happens when you introduce cheap, unearned dopamine? When you scroll through short-form videos, eat hyper-palatable junk food, or level up in a video game, you are flooding your brain with dopamine without having done any actual work. You are giving your nervous system the chemical reward of slaying the mammoth while sitting perfectly still on your couch. Your brain is highly efficient. If it learns that it can get a massive spike of dopamine with zero effort by simply moving a thumb across a screen, it will completely shut down your motivation to pursue difficult, long-term goals. Why would your brain give you the energy to spend 4 hours reading a dense book on real estate investing when it knows it can get a better chemical high by playing a video game? When you fry your dopamine receptors with cheap thrills, you chemically castrate your ambition. You must understand that your distraction is not an accident. It is a business model. The smartest engineers and psychologists on the planet do not work for the government. They work for social media companies, video game developers, and fast food conglomerates. Their entire job, the metric by which they are paid millions of dollars, is to figure out how to keep your eyes on a screen and your hand in a bag of chips for as long as biologically possible. They understand the mechanics of the slot machine. They understand variable reward schedules. They have weaponized your own biology against you. When you spend 3 hours a night gaming or scrolling, you might think, it's free entertainment. I'm just relaxing. But in the attention economy, if the product is free, you are the product. They are harvesting your time, packaging it into data, and selling it to advertisers. But the true cost to you is not just the time lost. The true cost is the focus premium. In an economy where 99% of men are addicted to cheap dopamine, the ability to focus without distraction has become the rarest and most valuable skill on earth. The marketplace pays a massive premium for deep, uninterrupted work. The man who can sit down for 4 hours, ignore his phone, and write complex code, draft persuasive sales copy, or design an automated business system is producing a level of value that the distracted man simply cannot compete with. By consuming cheap dopamine, you are voluntarily disqualifying yourself from the high-paying sectors of the economy. You are accepting the wages of the distracted class. Let us talk about the physical inputs. Wealth creation is a cognitive sport. You are paid for the clarity of your decisions and the speed of your problem solving. If you are consuming a diet of highly processed junk food, you are subjecting yourself to an invisible financial tax. When you eat refined sugars and processed carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes, giving you a temporary illusion of energy. But within an hour, your insulin spikes to clear the sugar, leading to a massive physiological crash. This is the afternoon brain fog. This is the lethargy that makes you want to lie down instead of working on your side business. You cannot solve high-level financial problems or outcompete hungry entrepreneurs when your brain is inflamed and your energy levels are dictated by a roller coaster of glucose spikes. Furthermore, poor physical inputs lead to poor sleep. Video games and late-night scrolling expose your eyes to blue light, suppressing melatonin production. You wake up exhausted. Because you are exhausted, your willpower is depleted. Because your willpower is depleted, you seek out more cheap dopamine, more caffeine, more junk food, more scrolling just to get through the day. It is a vicious cycle that keeps you poor. You are spending your money to consume products that destroy the very energy you need to make more money. How do you break the cycle? You do not need to become a monk and move to the mountains. But you must transition from a consumer of cheap dopamine to a producer of earned dopamine. You must retrain your brain to find pleasure in the effort rather than the distraction. Think about the feeling you get after an intense, grueling workout. It was painful in the moment. It required massive effort. But afterward, you feel a deep, enduring sense of satisfaction. That is earned dopamine. It builds your baseline level of motivation rather than depleting it. You must apply this exact same framework to your financial life. You need to starve your brain of the cheap thrills so that the boring tasks of wealth creation, reading, strategizing, working, become stimulating again. When you remove the artificial highs of video games and endless scrolling, a beautiful thing happens. Your dopamine receptors slowly upregulate. Your baseline resets. Suddenly, sitting in a quiet room and working on a business plan for 2 hours no longer feels like torture. It feels deeply engaging. You reclaim your natural human drive to conquer difficult tasks. To get your focus back, you need a protocol. You need a systematic approach to starving the distractions and feeding the focus. The 24-hour reset. Choose one day this week, perhaps a Sunday. For 24 hours, no screens unless strictly for essential communication. No video games, no processed sugar, no social media. Allow yourself to be profoundly bored. Boredom is the crucible where creativity and ambition are reborn. The 90-minute phone quarantine. Every morning, for the first 90 minutes of your workday, your phone goes into another room. Do not rely on your willpower to ignore it. Rely on physical distance. Use this 90-minute block for your most difficult, highest leverage financial task. Audit your environment. You cannot fight billionaire-backed algorithms with pure willpower. Delete the apps that act as your primary dopamine sinks. If you want to play a video game, make it a reward for completing a massive, profitable project, not the default activity for a Tuesday night. Your attention is the only asset you possess that can create all other assets. If you give it away to screens and junk food, you will remain exactly where you are. If you want to be rich, you must first become dangerous. And a dangerous man is a man in total control of his own impulses. Reclaim your focus. Starve your distractions. Feed your ambition. If you are ready to stop being a consumer and start being a producer, subscribe to this channel. We are building a community of men who run their own minds. What is the one cheap dopamine habit you are cutting out today? Let me know in the comments. I am Leonidas. Stay disciplined.